All right, Amy, let me know when you're all set, and we'll get to it.
Yes. Did it go?
I'm just making sure we can hear it on the recording. Okay, so that works.
We're almost ready.
Okay. And just in case.
I put that pre-survey link in the chat for everybody if they haven't done it.
Thank you.
We're ready. It just started recording.
Excellent. Well, welcome everyone. We are about, actually not 2 weeks, we're a week out. Actually, the next day would be the last day of the hackathon from the hackathon. Thank you everybody for joining us. We're going to give you a little bit of information about the hackathon itself, some of the logistics information, the schedule, and we're going to go ahead and introduce one of the major tools that all of the teams are going to be using for the hackathon. Please feel free to use the chat to let us know if you have a question. Of course, we'll answer them as we go along. Yeah, so let's get started here. So the agenda for today, we're going to go over our code of ethics. Alex Notes actually going over that, as well as our judging criteria. I'm going to go over the schedule briefly, as well as the deliverables that you will be giving. In case you didn't know, there is a contest aspect to this. There will be prizes, both major prizes at the end, as well as little mini prizes as we go through. Some of you all have actually been through one of our hackathons before. You can let your friends know that I like to do interesting things at interesting times. I'll leave it at that. We'll go over the communications channels, and then we'll have our CloudyCluster interview and introduction to some of the potential projects and mentors as well. So ethics and judging criteria. Alex, you ready to go?
Sure. How does it work? I have to tell you when to do the next slide, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, good. So let's go. Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, also welcome from my side, and I'm happy that you all decided to participate in our HPC Hackathon in the coming week. And I will just walk you quickly through the code of conduct. If you want to know a little bit more about it, you can check it out under this link. And this is really just to make sure that everyone's having a good time and that you can all work on exciting projects with the people that you chose as your team members. Can you do the next one? Yeah, so we're an inclusive event that welcomes all people, no matter of age, gender, skin color, ethnicity, nationality, religion, or background. We are very dedicated to provide a harassment-free environment to everyone that participates, and we do not tolerate harassment in any form. We expect all participants, sponsors, partners, volunteers, basically everyone that is connected to this hackathon to comply with this code of conduct. Next slide, please. So the hackathon staff, which you will be able to distinguish based on their bands, most likely, may take any action that they deem appropriate if somebody should violate the code. Potential actions include sanctions. We might expel people from the hackathon or contact local law enforcement authorities if this would be necessary. Harassment includes, but is not restricted to, audio-video recording against reasonable consent, sustained disruption of talks or other events, inappropriate physical contact, and unwelcome sexual attention. Furthermore, sexual language and imagery is not appropriate at the hackathon venue at any time. Next slide, please. So, yeah, this is the most obvious thing. If you see something, say something, right? So if any situation makes you feel uncomfortable, or if you witness someone being harassed, please contact any member of the hackathon staff. We will introduce ourselves at the beginning of the event, and as I said before, you'll also be able to distinguish us based on the bands that we wear. So if you see something, say something. Next one. And that should, of course, not sort of restrict you from taking any pictures at all. We would just like to ask you to, think about it before you take a picture at any point in time. Or if you're not sure if it is okay to take a picture of somebody or some situation, then it's always easier to ask them before. So in general, we would like you to take some pictures and inform your friends about it, and chat about it or whatever. Just be sure that the people that you take pictures of are okay with that. And yeah, so that is basically the code of conduct. If you have any questions, please fire away. Otherwise, I would just continue with the judging criteria. All right, good. Next slide, please. Okay, perfect. So as Jamie said, there's going to be a couple of different things going on. There are going to be a couple of smaller games. What I'm talking about now is basically the big one, right? That is sort of the major prize that's going to be given out at the end to the winning team. And in total, we're going to focus on 6 different criteria with 100 points in total that are going to be given out by a couple of different judges that we're going to introduce at the event as well. So the criteria are the following, starting with the next slide. Yeah, so first criteria is the thing that you develop going to be useful or viable? So does it have a realistic chance that someone is actually going to use what you built in the end? And it's going to be adopted by, here it says gateway, but basically by any community that it was developed for. So is it basically a realistic project, or was this just something that, you know, it was a nice idea that is not really viable for the community that you built it for? Next slide, please. Yeah, and also it should be cool, right? So it should be a nice thing that when people see it for the first time, they're like, wow, this is really cool. This is really a nice thing, right? So it should be a creative thing. So before you start running and before you start building something, think about it a little bit, you know, like let the creative juices flow a little bit and try to figure out, is this really sort of the best thing that we can come up with at this point in time? So it should be something that's interesting, that develops new use cases, or is basically surprising for people that might see it. Next one, please. Then basically, how well is it executed? This time not from a technical perspective, that comes later. This is really like from a usability perspective. So if you think about it, about your tool that or your project that you're going to build, is it something that someone can use afterwards? Is it nicely designed? Does it look appealing? And is it useful on top of everything? Next one. Yeah, and that is the technical complexity. So we don't really want to encourage you to build the most technically complex thing at all, but we also want to encourage you to attempt something that is not attainable in like an hour or something. So it should be challenging for you, right? We're not looking for trying out crazy things that are not attainable within the couple of days that we have, but you should at least challenge yourself and think about, hey, can we build something that is, you know, technically really advanced? And next one. Yeah, second to last, we're also going to look at how well you work together, because I mean, what we don't really want is a team of 3 or 4 people. One is basically doing everything and everyone else is just sitting around doing nothing, right? I mean, we want you to work together as a team. We want you to find out like what are the strengths of each other and how can you help each other out and how can you work together so in order to build an interesting and cool prototype. And last, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, and at the end, you're going to be asked, well, actually you're going to be asked multiple times during the hackathon to present where you're currently at, but there's also going to be a final presentation of what you built. So this presentation at the end is also going to be included in the judging criteria. Okay, that should be it, right? Ah, good, right. So any questions towards that so far? Okay, then, Jamie, your turn.
Excellent. So the hackathon schedule is going to be really, really tightly packed. As you can see, it's going to take place for 3 days. Monday at 9 p.m., we're going to meet up and we're going to have a kickoff and get our early information in. If you notice, every day, well, by every day, I mean Tuesday, Monday and Tuesday, ends at 12 a.m. Realistically, we have these rooms as long as we need them. So if you want to work into the night, feel free. Chances are I'll be there with you anyway to make sure everything is good to go. Tuesday and Wednesday, we will have lunch provided for you at 12 o'clock both days. Tuesday is basically a work day. We understand that there are things that are going on at the conference, like there's a job fair, there are presentations and things like that, that we do want you all to feel free to go to attend. However, the HackHPC itself is located in the Nacville room home to, will be open and available. There will actually be a couple rooms available, so if the teams do want to split out and work from different rooms, that's perfectly fine. But whenever we say there's an event for everyone, what we mean is that it will be taking place from within the net room. Let me make sure. And we will, of course, also have dinners as well. Dinners, generally speaking, will take place around 6 o'clock. We're going to try our best to, well, not try our best, we're going to read the room and kind of see when we need to, when to have dinner. And Tuesday night, because we know that Tuesday night's going to be very, very interesting. HackHQ is at the Hilton. Sorry about that. So we will the Hilton Denver. Tuesday night, because we're sure you're going to be working long into the night, we are going to have a special snack around 11:30 p.m. to 12 p.m. To make sure that you all have all the carbs and snacks and salts and things that I want to eat. So we will have that. Basically, we eat all the time. So those have been a part of our presentation, been a part of our hackathons before, know that we enjoy feeding. What I do want to say is that every night during our check-in at 9 p.m., there will be a challenge put forth. And that challenge will have a prize for the groups. I can tell you now as a hint, the first night we're going to have a challenge for the team that comes up with the best team cheer. And we will vote, and that team will receive a prize. So just prepare yourself. Wednesday, we're going to open up HackHQ at 10 a.m. But final presentations will take place at 5:30. What that means is you need to make sure that all your deliverables are in, which I'm about to show you, and you will be given a presentation at which time the best particular project will be given a prize, a special prize. The deliverables. First, your team will need to put together a PowerPoint presentation, of course, giving your team names, the process you went through, and a demo, if you're able to give it. One thing we are requiring is that you do have to have at least one slide displaying the project use of CloudyCluster. Omnibon has been so nice to provide the major support for this event, and we want to make sure that their product, the way their product is used, that we do display that within our presentation. We want to have a GitHub link with your source code, a team photo with contact information for all the members, and of course want to make sure that you do the post-event survey. If your team is selected as the best in show, as well as other awards we may be offering, if these particular deliverables are not given, you will not, the entirety of your team will not receive their prize. So just putting it out there. Are there any questions about that before I go forward? All right, let's push forward. So communication channels. Whenever I request anything from your group, say for instance, I may ask you to do a presentation on your status, on a status update on Tuesday for a prize, or whichever team has done the most. Those products will need to be sent to me through the Slack channel. If you're not yet a part of the Slack channel, take a minute, write this down, the CloudyHPC.slack.com, and go ahead and join it. If you have any issues, please feel free to email us and let us know. I always take pictures of the groups and do little videos. Those that have been a part of the hack know I like to do crazy stuff on Twitter. So I highly suggest you go ahead and follow CCloudHack. And then, of course, the website that you all have all registered on, HackHPC.org. So, projects and mentor introductions. So, Boyd, before I go into this, I saw that you changed the agenda a little bit. Did you want us to do the overview first before we did the project and mentor introductions?
Yeah, because it may be a little more clear what the projects are based on, or we can reverse it.
You can tell he's going to have crappy Wi-Fi.
Okay. All right, so in that case, then I will hand it over to you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing, Boyd, And I'm sure you already have the presentation up. If you just share your screen, that way you can control the presentation yourself there.
Yeah.
If he cuts on my phone, it's going to like he did yesterday.
He needs to get to the right slide though.
And just to let you know, I know I didn't introduce myself, and my name's Jamie, by the way. You've probably seen a few emails from myself and Amy and Boyd as well, and even Alex. We're of course going to introduce ourselves again the night of the event, but we're part of the supporting team that will be that's been putting this on and will be managing the hackathon. Boyd and I will also act as mentors for two of the teams.
Jamie's name.
So beyond that, I'll turn it over to
It's
Boyd.
like the French word for I love.
Okay, great.
Or I like.
Y'all see my
But it's-
presentation fine?
Incorrect.
Yes.
He would
Yeah.
drop the E and just have an apostrophe J.
But I do want to throw a shout out to our sponsors, Intel, Google, AWS, TAC, have all been very helpful with this year as we're going forward, and the SGCI and CloudyCluster teams have also. I wanted to start with this. There might be a few people that aren't familiar with HPC, and that's why I did it in this order. It's hard to talk about projects without talking a little bit about HPC. Stands for High Performance Computing, and High Performance Computing has been around for quite a while, and it takes what you cannot do quickly on one computer and allows you to divide it up amongst many computers so you can accomplish those things very quickly. There are two types of workloads generally with high performance computing. There's pleasingly parallel or high throughput computing, and then NPI workloads where nodes talk to each other during the processing, whereas pleasingly parallel, they don't. Everything's kind of self-contained. Some of the industry performance computing is leveraged. You can see on right, biology, bioinformatics, chemistry, finance, fluid dynamics, and you can see
Tell him to
there's
drop his
a
video.
huge industry, and a lot of them use the same methodologies for high performance computing, where you have a batch scheduler,
Saying I can't,
parallel
really
storage, you launch.
He can turn off his camera though.
Now,
Hey Boyd,
Oh boy, you're starting to sell on out a little bit on us.
yes,
you might want to drop your video. You're cutting out a little.
Oh, looks like they lost him. That's an unfortunate spot.
Oh,
great.
Looks like they lost him.
Is it better if I get closer, or is it still breaking up?
Oh, they only heard you.
We can hear you right now.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah, you-
might be because I waved my hands a lot when I talk.
It's bandwidth.
So there are several types of workloads, pleasingly parallel or embarrassingly parallel, sometimes it's called. And then there's NPI where the nodes talk back and forth. And as you can see,
This is the
there's
problem with Hangouts. The way it prioritizes voice and
And
audio. I mean,
one of
video
the
and audio.
ways to make
It's like
this
equal.
hackathon
Whereas
easier
like WebEx,
is by leveraging the
the video's
CloudyCluster tool.
constrained at all,
And
and
we
you can tell
developed
by
this
frame
tool to
drops.
make this familiar
It
environment
always keeps audio
available for
at peak priority.
HPC.
That's why I don't like
in the
Hangouts
cloud.
for this kind of stuff.
And it can run on either Google Cloud Platform or AWS. And we will have accounts for the cloud so you can use them no charge during the hackathon to try to work with these things. And that way you can easily build that HPC environment. And we will have several
What are we
developers
talking about?
from the team to help do this. And we will have images
Yeah,
available
all
in the
those
account so
ones
you can launch it very easily.
So
And let it go. And we'll actually be using GCP and AWS. We're still waiting on the AWS credits to show up, but we believe we'll have both. CloudyCluster has one additional piece in addition to your traditional HPC system. It has a meta scheduler that you can actually access with APIs. And that way you can build your gateway or your application or whatever you need to interact with high performance computing through this Python client and allow you to launch your jobs and check the status of your jobs and complete the jobs if you need to. You can also access the results via the web DAV protocol, or if you're running on a system, you can access it through native mounts to the file system that you choose on that system. Here's a little picture that kind of describes that environment where you have different storage options depending on which cloud you choose. You have your login instance, NAT for network access. It all sits within a virtual private cloud. And then you have your scheduler, which you can choose Pork or Slurm, which are standard across the industry. And then parallel storage for data storage if you need it. And then HPC compute engine, compute jobs or compute nodes, are spun up dynamically based on the job you submit. And I'll show a little example of that in the slides. And we'll also give an example of that as you need when the hack starts. There's many HPC libraries, a lot of HPC software, and then also machine learning libraries and software available. Already in the image, it is easy to add additional software if you would like to an image and then launch it. So we'll be there to help with that throughout the process. Give you kind of a quick view. There is a GUI to spin up the environment. You use a key to authorize, you fill out some basic information for the admin user. You select the type of instances, the SSH key, you give the name and environment, and then you choose the type of environment you want, your job scaling with CCQ, that's the meta scheduler, the storage you'd like, and then the login and scheduler. You'll get more details on the next screen where you can have your storage point, you get to choose the login instance name, and you also get to choose the scheduler, which I didn't grab a screenshot for. Then you get a summary, tells you the price, which you won't have to worry about. 20 to 30 minutes later, depending on the options you choose, you have a fully operating HPC environment that then you can launch jobs to. When you want to launch jobs, the HPC jobs across the industry, there's kind of a standard where you have a job script, which is a simple shell script that has some hints in it where you can see that hashtag CC or the hashtag PBS that you can enable it for PBS, which would be for scheduler. SBatch would be for the Slurm scheduler. We'll show you how to do this. And essentially it tells you the number of nodes is 24, the number of tasks or processes are 4. You want those to align to the number of cores you have available. And then this shows you where the shared file system is. And then down at the bottom, you can see the MPI prime job is compiled and run, and then the output is returned back. And this is all done over MPI. There are lots of different software applications you can choose from. I'll go through some of the sample and the examples later. But this gives you that kind of overview of what an HPC job looks like. Oh, dang it. And they're saying audio is choppy, but my audio is, I'm the one presenting.
You may want to turn off your camera, boy. If you turn off your camera, it may save a little bit of bandwidth.
Yeah.
And just to let you all know, some of these terminologies, if you haven't heard of them, each group will be working with a mentor directly to aid you with some of these things. I know that many of us haven't used HPC before, so it seems a little intimidating, but don't worry, we're going to be here with you to help guide you through it.
Right, and the whole goal is to kind of learn these capabilities and to learn from this. And there's a lot of things here that look overwhelming, but it's not too difficult. And a lot of standard jobs will have available that you can learn from and try from. Here's another one that is specific to using specific GCP instance type, different nodes, but notice it's still an MPI prime job. And there's other jobs that have different different codes that they'll be launching. The one thing here is something called preemptible instances, which can take money in the future. An example of output, here's a a CCQ stub. That's how you submit the job. That sends it off to CCQ, which spins up the nodes automatically. And then the job is sent through Torque-Learn to the appropriate nodes. Here's a sample of CCQ stat for the output, lets you know what's happening to the jobs, and one had an error, several are in a different state. And the API will also let you have access to that information. We also will have, and we're not going to make that available before Monday night, but we do have a CCQ client that allows you in Python just to use those same commands, but have it integrated into your code. So CCQ stat, CCQ sub, and then CCQ delete, and we'll have that available.
Just gonna throw it out there. You all may want to snap a quick picture of that one. I have a feeling you all may need that one.
Cheaters.
Just a feeling.
So just, I wanted to give that background of HPC. Hopefully the audio is better. Be more than happy to share the slides with anyone. Here are the mentors we have, and sometimes we have a couple show up as well. We have Mary, who has a lot of experience even with Linux kernel development, C, Python, system programming. With Christian, Python, C, C++, MPI, David, C, Python, and UI UX design. Jamie, C, Python, Linux internals, and a bunch of other stuff. Rich, project management, Flutter, Dart, ideation, PowerPoint, Excel. Boyd, me, Python, ideation, project breakdown. I like to work with people to help them kind of work through and make things doable. Jupiter, HTML, PowerPoint, and Chris, C, Python, Linux internals, and a bunch of others. Also, he knows this stuff. And Jane.
Uh-oh, you sound out, boy.
Find out for high performance computing. What's that?
You sound out there at the end.
So here's some examples we go through quickly. We'll go through more of them with mentors themselves. You can build a render farm, with Blender, so you can actually process video or motion or images across multiple systems, multiple compute nodes. Christian's going to be ramped up and ready for that one. Weather modeling with Warp, if you want to do, take some sample data and do weather modeling. Rich is going to be providing, a project and expertise in that area. And all of these things are things that are bigger than what you can do on your normal, single processor, single laptop type of thing. I need multiple machines. Molecular dynamics using lamps. Rich will also be looking at that one. Let's provide expertise across that.
Sounds really scary.
Here's an interesting one, CCQ bot with Twilio. Here's a messaging interface into job submission, job status, those types of things. David will be doing that. Interactive UI or Jupyter-based job submission management, I will be working on that with either Jupyter or just standard HTML interfaces, a couple of projects in there. CFD modeling is another one with OpenFOAM, another thing that some of us can help with. And there are several other ideas that we'll probably present on Monday night that people can choose from. You also think of your own HPC idea, talk with a mentor, to make sure that it's feasible within the time frame. We want to make sure things are, accomplishable and you're not trying to boil the ocean in the time available. So that's it for me. There's more information.
Mary's not even in the
Maybe you have anything else?
Mary and Aaron.
So the big thing, thanks, Mike. The big thing I want to make sure is that everyone's aware that they need to get from the Denver airport, so it's a logistics conversation, from the Denver airport to the hotel. There is a train, which this information was actually provided in the email that costs $10.50 from what I've been told. That will take you over from the airport into Denver, and then you can make your way to the So please be prepared for that fee there for you to take the train. The other thing is Amy is actually setting up your registration for SC19 so that you can have your exhibitor badge so you can actually go into the facility. The reason we're starting on Monday at 9 p.m. is because Monday night there is a huge gala that starts at 6 o'clock. Is that correct? Or is it at 7?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 7 o'clock.
So at 7 o'clock, I'm going to mark it 3 times so that we know that this is But there'll be food there, the vendors will be there. You all have never
It doesn't
been
matter.
to
It's gonna
the
loop through
supercomputing
your
conference.
speakers too.
That Monday night, the one bit of information I can tell you is don't go to the
No,
gala
like-
with a plan.
Because you have your speaker.
Go to the
If you
gala,
turned your headphones down
eat the food,
all
and
the way to
just
0,
kind of
then
wander
it wouldn't
around
loop
and
through
see
your
what you see.
speakers
Feel
and
free
back
to pick
into the
up
mic.
any of the giveaways they have. I usually suggest that you take a second bag with you, if you can, like a collapsible bag,
Oh,
because
it is.
you're gonna come back with some stuff. Just put it out there. But it's gonna seem a little bit overwhelming that Monday night. That's completely
Well, don't
normal.
unmute your
But go
mic.
to the gala,
Oh, just
enjoy
tell me.
it, see all the technologies and things like that. Stop by the student cluster competition and whatnot. But then at 9 p.m., come to our hotel, and we'll get started that night. Now, Amy, how do you want to go about getting them their badge, their exhibitor's badge?
If everybody that needs an exhibitor badge can please personally send me a direct email, I will request certain information from you that I need for the badge. And then I will get you registered. But if you do not send me a direct email telling me that you need an exhibitor badge, you will not have one there waiting for you. You send the email and I have all of your information, I will register you immediately for a badge. You are responsible for going to the conference center and you need to show identification to pick up your badge. You want to make sure you go and get your badge before the opening gala or you will not be let in. So make sure you get there a little early because I don't know what time registration closes. So you will need to look at when registration closes in order to get into the party.
Yeah, we also just posted that in the chat. You can find the email address there.
Thank you.
It'll also be added to the slide when we mail the slides out. So yes, are there any other questions that we can kind of answer for you all? Oh, breakfast. Breakfast will be handled by the hotel. So whatever hotel you're in or on your own, of course you'll take care of breakfast. We'll provide lunch both Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll be providing dinner Monday, Tuesday. Are we doing anything Wednesday, Amy?
Yes, we will have something Wednesday too with the awards.
Excellent, and Wednesday as well.
And if anybody has any questions or concerns or anything, please just feel free to reach out to me directly and I can help and walk you through it.
Excellent. I think we have a few questions. Let me make sure. Thank you. That's a very good point, Rich. Colorado, there are 2 things you need to know about Denver. First is extremely high as far as an altitude, among other things. 2, the second thing about Denver is that it's very cold. So when you get off the plane, your body may need to acclimate to the high altitude. Some people acclimate better than others. One thing I will say is there are stairs as you get off the plane that most people take without thinking about it when you're in an airport. I highly suggest you take the escalator or the elevator. Allow your body time to acclimate. You're going to feel like you're out of breath a little bit. So just be aware of that. And then the cold. Denver is cold. So make sure that you bring appropriate coats and hats and gloves. You may want to take a look on the Weather Channel to see what the estimated weather is now.
Dude, it says 60s. Relax. Relax. We're not going to the fucking Arctic.
You say that. You say that. So just be aware. But beyond that, are there any questions for us? Oh, and drink lots of water, yes. Make sure when you get there, generally speaking, you're going to have a water bottle with you to stay hydrated. That will help you transition over a lot
We're
easier.
getting a water bottle. We are providing.
Yes, water bottles will be provided to you as part of your welcome package.
From AWS.
And
Oh, cool.
and you know, Alex is a Viking, so take what he says with a grain of salt.
That's very true. And like I said, I can't stress enough that first night of the gala, if you've never been to the supercomputing conference before, it is very, very overwhelming at first. Allow yourself to explore. It's okay. It'll get better. And we may even put a group together and kind of go in there together, and I'll take you on a tour and make sure you get some of the awesome swag. But we'll cover that as we go. So beyond that, are there any other questions?
Leave room in your suitcase to bring swag back.
Yes. Yes.
Very important.
I'm doing a second bag, but you know, I load up for everybody.
Yes.
All right. Are there any other questions? Everybody's got their flight information and hotel information. Oh, the hotel information. Amy, do you wanna hand that out now?
Hang on. Srindi had a question, it sounds like.
Yeah, so I had a question regarding the presentation, like which was just given. So the list of projects which was shown, so we can choose from either of them or come up with our own, right?
That's correct.
So the projects which were shown, is it the entire project itself, or is it like if our project is going to have some element of that, then we can choose the mentor who's working with it?
That's a very good question. So first, I'm gonna start that out by saying we basically have 2 days to work on this. Our job, as far as in running the hackathons, to make sure you scope it appropriately, to make sure that you take on this much of a bigger project so that you can actually accomplish it. So in other words, you're not going to be doing something so huge that you can't complete it. You're going to be taking care of this much of it. And to add on with Tio's question, if you'd like to make teams before you come, that is okay. We don't want the teams to be any larger than 3 to 4 people max. So just be aware of that. But generally speaking, we kind of form teams when we get there and go from there.
Hotel rooms, I will send a group email to the people that will be rooming together and what hotel they will be staying at.
Excellent.
So you'll all know who your roommates are.
Yes. And to warn you, there can be anywhere from 2 to 4 people in a hotel room. And you will see that when you receive the email.
So I just wanted to confirm this. So the hotel rooms you're talking about, that's for the participants who come from out of Denver, right? Or is it like if you are working overnight at the HQ and if you want to rest or something, then we can go and use the hotel room?
If you send me an email requesting if you could have a hotel room, there may be still some available. So if that's one of your requests and concerns, please send me that email and I will check on that and get back to you as soon as possible.
Oh, okay. And if you're driving in, there may be some costs associated with parking.
Okay.
Let us know.
And we will take care of the cost.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I'll let you know about that. And also the third question I had, I don't know if I'm asking it like too early, but it's regarding the teams. So is it like a single mentor can mentor for 2 different teams who are working on kind of the same projects, or is it like a first come first serve? Like as soon as we decide our project, we need to contact the mentor and say that hey, you're going to be our mentor.
We need you. No, we have had mentors mentor multiple groups, so that is a possibility. We are very, very flexible. This isn't a class.
Right.
We're here to work together and get as much done as we can. Even if a mentor has a specialization and they're in another group, they can also help with another group when they get that specialization. So yeah, we're not locking you down.
Okay. I think I have that's it.
All right, are there any other questions?
Did everyone manage to join the Slack channel? So actually, if you didn't, please put your email address in the chat so I can add you.
Mr. Gates, Andrea, or Mrs. Gates? Gates is saying, is asking me if you want a certain subject line in the email to make it a little bit easier to determine it's for a badge.
Just if you just put the subject line exhibitor badge, that would be perfect.
All right, any other questions or concerns? All right, beyond that, folks, I will see you on Monday night. Make sure you get added to the Slack channel, and I'm prepared to work. I'll see you there.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.